A very good evening to all present here. This is Nishtha Upadhyay, Legal Counsel at Emergent. And to all crypto natives, GM to you. As a lawyer working with crypto founders, one of the most common comment I hear is, regulations slow down innovation. How many of you guys believe that? See? And my response to that is always, actually, good regulation give innovation a longer life. When crypto first burst into the spotlight, it was all about freedom. No intermediaries, no borders, no limits. It was thrilling. It felt like a revolution. But as every innovator learns sooner or later, freedom without guardrails quickly turns into chaos. And that's why we have compliance, so that innovation doesn't face hiccups. Because bad compliance is a break to your innovation. We need compliance to have seat belts so that innovation can move faster and safer. Because I believe today, compliance isn't a checkbox anymore. It's a strategic advantage. If we see countries like UAE is setting global benchmarks for virtual asset supervision, the European Union is creating a unified regulatory framework across 27 member states. The US has its own Genius and Clarity Act. What does it mean? It means everywhere you look, the message to the business is the same. Compliance is no longer an obstacle. It's your entry ticket to scale and trust. And that's why we believe the future of crypto isn't anti-regulation. It's actually compliance-enabled innovation where rules and creativity work together to build systems that are just not disruptive, but also durable. So maybe it's high time we stop blaming the technology, because crypto isn't the villain, non-compliance for sure is. On that note, Emergent and BlackDot policy advisors are proud to present Crypto System Oversight Innovation and Strategy Act, the Coins Act 2025, the first of its kind industry-led model law built around rights and innovation. When we first set out to draft the Coins Act, our goal was simple: to reimagine how India would regulate its digital assets. And the answer was not by control, but through constructive design. And that's why you see Coins Act is built on three guiding pillars: oversight, innovation, and strategy. Let's talk about oversight. Coins Act has oversight, which means that a dedicated regulatory authority will oversee crypto-related matters. Second, innovation. Coins Act proposes innovation zones, regulatory sandboxes, where builders can experiment freely without the fear of arbitrary enforcement. And third, strategy. Because we believe digital assets is just not a financial innovation. It's a strategic opportunity. And as any lasting framework, Coins Act is also anchored in a few core principles. The principles are rights-based framework, which means it enshrines constitutional rights in the crypto paradigm. Onshore protocol economy. It lets innovators experiment freely and interact with crypto protocols. Risk-based regulation. Higher the risk, higher controls. Lesser risk, lesser controls. Cost benefit and stakeholder impact. Every rule the regulator makes must justify its value against infringement of rights. Public consultation and judicial review. It ensures accountability and transparency. Coins Act is just not a model law. It's a blueprint for India's future in digital asset economy, rooted in our values, powered by innovators, and guided by our constitution. And these principles together create a right-centric regulatory architecture, which means that Coins Act envisions a future where the constitutionally protected rights in our personal life is a natural extension of rights in the digital domain. And what are those rights are in the digital domain? Right to self-custody, the right to deploy open source code, the right to innovate freely, the right to interact with crypto protocols. Because we believe fundamental rights should just not be protected in principle, but also in policy. And that's why it rejects punitive regime, no confiscatory taxes, no blanket KYCs on non-custodial activities, compliance where it matters, freedom where it should be. Moving forward, Coins Act proposes a regulatory authority. We call it Crypto Asset Regulatory Authority, CARA. CARA will be established not to replace existing institutions, but will complement them. RBI and SEBI will continue to exercise its jurisdiction where crypto would intersect their domain. But CARA will have primary oversight on crypto-related matters. Moving forward, Coins Act actively accelerates innovations amongst builders. So the provisions like safe harbor, innovation zones, regulatory sandboxes, temporary FEMA moratorium, ISO window experiment is a proof that Coins Act believe that innovation is a key to digital India. While Coins Act fosters innovation and clarity at an ecosystem level, it also takes a step back to look into the bigger picture. The bigger picture here is India's strategic position in digital global economy. And that's why it proposes Strategic Crypto Reserve. The Strategic Crypto Reserve would mean that India should create and maintain reserves like Bitcoin and other major crypto assets. Second, it should utilize forfeited and recovered crypto assets to strengthen the reserve, signaling India's commitment to digital future global economy, and also hedging against fiat depreciation and dollar dependency. I would like to say that Coins Act is just not a model law. It's a vision for India's future. Because in the 21st century, freedom without guidance leads to chaos, and guidance without freedom stifles progress. And I believe Coins Act ensures both coexist in a crypto ecosystem which is useful, durable, transparent, and truly world-class. Now I'd like to call Mandar from BlackDot Public Policy Advisors for a quick fireside chat amongst us. The format of the fireside chat would be a free-flowing conversation where we'll ask each other some interesting questions around innovation, regulation, and crypto ecosystem. Mandar is already on the stage, so thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Mandar. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I think she's done a great job introducing both the Act and BlackDot Public Policy Advisors as also our project here, but I'm just going to take 1 minute. So my name is Mandar Kagade. I'm founder principal at BlackDot Public Policy Advisors. We are a policy advisory firm. Think of us as a K Street firm that operate out of DC. We are the Indian equivalent of it. Relatively new intermediary in the ecosystem. And my focus is predominantly fintech and financial services, including frontier financial services. And we've been in the ecosystem for about 5.5 years now, working with all the fintechs that have apps on your phone, whatever that might be, like the stuff that you interact with, the stuff that you pay with, the stuff that you store your wealth in, all of these folks have at some point in time worked with us over the past, and we've also worked with some traditional players that you might want to think of if you think cross-border payments or wallets globally, as also in the enterprise blockchain space. So yeah, no, with that, I think I'll stop here and let's get on with business.
Okay, so the first question I would like to ask you is, with the current regulatory landscape in India, what are the most significant legal hurdles do you think Web3 companies face today?
So clearly the absence of a regulatory framework that is all encompassing, right, is the biggest hurdle that we face today. Think of the securities market in India, okay? Now, the securities market in India, catalyzed by what is known as the Harshad Mehta scam colloquially, came through in the 1990s, early 1990s, and SEBI was formed. Before that, we had a semblance of a regulator, and thereafter it has sort of quickly became all-encompassing regulatory framework that now includes brokers, asset managers, that is, AMCs, mutual funds, which are an affiliate sort of structure. On the credit side, they include money market funds and custodians, right? So we lack that all-encompassing framework right now, except in the case of AML, to which we'll sort of come to in the course of our conversation. And that is, I think, the biggest hurdle. So I'll stop here, and then basically, what I want to do is, instead of her asking me questions and basically doing it like a one-way traffic, I want to do it a two-way traffic. So I think we're going to change roles and do a bit of a relay. So I think we, let me ask her the question, like, what do you think might be, what signals do you think the policymakers might want to send to builders and innovators that have assembled here for them to have the confidence going forward in the innovation in the Web3 ecosystem writ large?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, actually. I would begin India's journey to control digital assets first. India's approach to control digital assets has seen a journey from fear to control and now to cautious engagement. But I still feel that lack of clear legal regulation, lack of access to digital public goods creates a chilling effect on startups and investors. And then the taxation framework which came in 2022 was, though I understand it's too restrictive, but it was a real first signal wherein regulators were trying to just not eliminate the asset class, rather they were trying to acknowledge it for the first time ever. So I would say that right now India's position has gone in a little mature phase. The question around crypto shouldn't be it should exist or not, rather how to exist in India's economic system. To answer your question, Mandar, policymakers should have a clear definition around crypto ecosystem, a predictable policy framework, and continuous conversation with stakeholders will definitely go a long way, as per my opinion.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. I want to add a few things to that, but I think I'll wait up and basically wait for your question.
Yeah, sure. We have been hearing about India's VDA discussion paper. So how would you feel that, how will India's VDA discussion paper would meaningfully advance the creation of a well-defined, balanced crypto regulatory framework? That's been a lot of buzz around recently.
I think her previous question, Nishtha, your previous answer nicely sort of cues my response to this question. You want to think about current policy stance vis-a-vis crypto as one that of cautious engagement. Earlier in the year, you heard the finance minister at the Kautilya Economic Conclave talk about the inevitability of engaging with stablecoins. Now, she wasn't upfront, and there is and basically, come on right ahead and suggest India INR pegged stablecoin. But she did suggest that there is a need to engage with stablecoins. I think that nicely sort of encapsulates where we stand. So I'm confident that we will have an engagement, we will have a stance vis-a-vis stablecoins, even though we may not have a straight out policy glide path to a INR pegged stablecoin in that discussion paper. Other than that, I would expect a little bit of ambiguity. The reason being that RBI has always been a major policy player in the ecosystem. It is one of the oldest it is in fact the oldest. It's 1935. The RBI Act is 1935 Act. And that makes it the oldest regulator. It also has, in terms of jurisdictional expanse, one of the largest remits. So their reluctance to engage with crypto assets over the past about 7 years has kind of hamstrung the union government as well in some sense. So I would expect ambiguity in other respects, but with respect to stable coins, I think what I said earlier might hold. So that I'll stop and sort of then let's basically get on to the next few points that I want to address. So I think I want to come back to the Coins Act conversation that we were having, and the presentation that you walked through. Imagine a best possible scenario for crypto, okay? And imagine a world that is about 36 months hence, okay? And a Coins Act is enacted, right? So what are the key friction points are then solved with the enactment of Coins Act? And what are who are the beneficiaries of those, of that reform? That'd be great to sort of talk about.
First of all, I would like to knock all the woods and cross my finger. Coins Act should be recognized in India. To answer your question, Mandar, I feel simple things for users, banking access to crypto transaction, and everyday uncertainty people like us face, whether we are in the right side of the law or not. That would be a smoother conversation going forward in a daily life. Second, for developers and startups, I feel the compliance and structuring would be a more easier way to do business, because I've been interacting with a lot of founders, and every founder is either forced to operate outside India, or if in India, through a complex legal structure. If India were to recognize Coins Act, I would say that Indian founders, who all Indian founders are here, let me just by show of hands. So they would incorporate in India, they will hire in India, they will engage with Indian institution openly. And for bigger players like VCs, payment partners, banks, they will not hesitate to engage with Indian crypto ecosystem, because I feel that today there's a lot of hesitation around regulatory ambiguity, but not because they don't believe in technology. So for users like us, for developers, for startup founders, I feel the legal challenges and the everyday friction they face, it'll be much more smoother if India were to recognize Coins Act.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to add one more point to Nishtha's articulation. If you remember the walkthrough, recall the walkthrough that we did, there was a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Now, President Trump and the United States have already notified, there's basically an executive order in place, and they are creating a Bitcoin reserve in the US. Should the Coins Act be enacted in a hypothetical scenario, we would also have an Indian Bitcoin reserve. Now, the benefits of that is, like, counter-cyclicality is a thing in finance. As those of you that work in finance, I think most of crypto folks, including yours truly, has worked in finance, financial regulation, and so forth. So counter-cyclicality is a thing. As also, assets that are uncorrelated is a thing. as all of us know who are in the wealth management space. So what Bitcoin Strategic Reserve does is it kind of elevates that principle at the India level, right? That prudential principle of wealth management, uncorrelated assets, and basically countercyclical assets, that it elevates at the India level and kind of allows our national wealth to grow in a way that is more risk adjusted, right? That is the benefit of it. Of course, the political lift to enable a Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, given where we are, is tough. But what we have done in the Coins Act is that we have balanced both the innovation leg, as she was rightly pointing out, and the risk leg, right? And both have to kind of play a little bit of a relay race of sorts to push India forward. So I'll basically, I just wanted to round that point up with this additional, feature of the Coins Act. Coming to the next question that I had. Now, if you see, and I think you've been talking about compliance a lot, and I had a question. This is basically a question that I also have, generally, not in the context of this, conversation, is that, for long we have a risk-adjusted lens. Okay, what can go wrong, right? What can go wrong with crypto? And let's sort of plug that loophole. So basically, we are risk first, right? If I may. So what will it take, Nishtha, for us to move from risk first to innovation first, right? What is that culture shift, that vibe shift, to use a word that is common in the zeitgeist, that needs to happen for us to move from risk first to innovation first?
Actually, this question I always keep pondering about also, because my daily life is based on compliance, risk, mitigation of risk, languages around these. To move beyond anti-money laundering or crime prevention law, crime prevention lens, India should change the communication around crypto ecosystem, I feel. The language we use currently is crypto is something to be controlled, to be basically should be used as a risk mitigation, but we never talk about how it can be a technology which can be harnessed. Features of blockchain or stablecoin framework, if this is a current topic right now, has umpteen benefits, I would say, because they can help in cross-border trade. They will benefit MSME financing. Tokenization of assets will be very useful. So if we change or broaden our conversation about crypto ecosystem and use the correct language, I think there will be a shift of lens from risk first to innovation first model.
Yeah. I think just to summarize a point, I think I work with the regulators and also with the industry. The single most question that I get from the regulatory side of the aisle is, what is that use case? Like, show us the use case. Is it more than just basically punting? Show us the use case, and my endeavor has to demonstrate use case across wealth in a way that I shared earlier. Uncorrelated assets and diversification, which I think even BlackRock recognizes now. So that needs to be, like, we need to double down on that effort, like, and we need to demonstrate some real world use cases. And I think Polygon and others have worked with several sub-federal governments in India to sort of do some of that. Anyway, so moving on, do you want to take the question?
To add to his point also, we should definitely use the words like innovation enabler and job creator, so that regulators should have a positive impact of crypto ecosystem, I feel.
Yeah.
I'll move forward to the next question.
Yeah.
The time we have, like, little less time.
Let's finish this, and then I'll throw it to the audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mandar, global stablecoin standards, as we are seeing, are tightening. What early architecture or governance decisions should founders bake into their products to be regulatory ready before regulator comes to shut their business?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a throwback to the previous panel. I think Edul, he's doing a lot in the stablecoin space, and I think you heard Edul. Some of that I want to just borrow and sort of include impound in my conversation. But two salient points that come to my mind. We need because stablecoins have a biggest cross-border use case. As Edul pointed out, that's the single most important use case for India. India is the biggest inbound market. So we need FEMA, a conducive FEMA regulation, okay? In the sense that I don't mean to retrofit FEMA to stablecoin technology. We need to amend FEMA and bring it forward. FEMA, by the way, for those that are not Indians here, FEMA is our anti-money laundering framework. It's the BSA equivalent of the US. Anyway, so that is one. And the second most important thing is with stable coins, the biggest risk is should you issue a INR pegged stable coin, or even if Indian investors are exposed to a US pegged stable coin, they always will be exposed to what is known in financial circles as a run risk. Think of run risk as what would happen if a bank distress happens. All of us are going to run to our banks and basically demand our deposits back. Something like that, because of the nature of stablecoin issuer structure, they are also liable to face. And the mitigants to that are disclosure, and prudent asset management framework at the back end, along with a great assurance function, a very strong, robust assurance function. Auditing, regular auditing, disclosures and the like. And in terms of the asset profile, you want to keep it high quality liquid assets, HQLA as the banking industry knows it as. And I'm sure people in the banking industry are in the audience, and the broader audience that is listening in. Anyway, so those two key bulwarks, I think, protect stable coins and stablecoin issuers, as also stablecoin investors from spillovers. Okay, we're almost done. But I just want to throw up maybe just one question. If you all are dying to ask anyone, I can basically, we can go at it and close the panel. No one? Okay. Thank you so much for being a patient audience.
Thank you so much for being a great audience today.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Thank you.